Your altcoin bags might be ready to tank if Ethereum and Bitcoin can't form a higher low after its weekend rally. That's what we're going to cover in this video, which you can essentially interpret as part 5 in a series, because in this video here, new viewers, I predicted earlier this month why Plan B's target of 93 to 98K November, Bitcoin was not going to hold up, and I was the only person on the internet to tell you the reason why. It was all based off of Ethereum was not ready. It was going to drag Bitcoin down, and guess what? Ethereum did exactly what I predicted it was going to do. And in this video here, just after the move down started, I predicted what levels you need to be looking for, and those levels held up as of now, but the bottom target has not been hit. And in this video here, because of the initiation to the downside, I let you know the consequences that's going to have on the 4-year cycle. We don't know at this time will tell, but I predict for these reasons that the 4-year cycle will be over, and you honestly need to forget about it. And in this video here, more recently, I let you know over the weekend rally, if X, Y, and Z don't happen, then Bitcoin and Ethereum will either form a higher low, so that it won't sustain, it'll go down, or form a lower low. But none of those happen. A higher low is being formed right now, potential risk of a lower low. So you should watch those videos if you're new to the channel. So in this video, I'm going to dive in what you need to look out for to see if this higher low after the weekend rally is going to hold up, or if you need to start getting scared that your altcoins are getting ready to dump. And I also give really good alerts on Twitter. I try to keep everybody updated. If you're watching my videos, make sure you follow me on Twitter. I give JPEG types of summaries of my analysis. So check me out on Twitter and we'll jump in. Okay, we are going to start off with Ethereum. The blue line, so I'm on the 4-hour chart on Ethereum. The blue line is the previous wick high formed in May. See that wick high? That about $4,400, 43 and change, right? You also see on here an orange line, which is the 200 EMA. You also see this line going right here. Actually, it's going to be easier if I take off price. This origin line here. Okay, so we have 3 objects in play essentially. And this is a totally different type of analysis from the thumbnail that was blue. If you could see it behind me here, you can essentially, if you watch this video, you can mix what I said in this video with what I'm saying now. So this is a totally different approach, and having different approaches allows you to get extra confirmation on what's happening if multiple types of analysis are agreeing, right? Okay, so we're looking at Ethereum 4-hour chart because Ethereum is leading Bitcoin right now, right? So the origin line, if you zoom out, is, I'm going to make it bolder so you can see what we're dealing with. All right. So this origin line is not monumental, but in recent price history, it is. So in the past, it offered support, it offered resistance. Okay. And then recent price action. So this is February right here, resistance. So let's zoom into more recent price action just so you can see all of the interest on this line as of recent. Okay. So here recently you have resistance, and guess when Ethereum decided to blow up? Right when it passed that line. Is that a coincidence? Absolutely not. It had to get above that line with volume, and that's exactly what happened. Then it couldn't sustain it. Use it as resistance. Consolidated under it. Had a bull trap. Broke back down below it. Use it as resistance. Came back up. Consolidated right under it as resistance. Got above it. Came back down. Tested as support. Over the weekend, it blasted off of it. Right now, it's coming back down to tested as support. This line is very serious. So, as of recent, in previous price history in Ethereum, this line wasn't as big as a deal relative to the other origin lines, okay? And if you want to draw this origin line, maybe not so far back as I have, but you might try the 4-hour chart and just try to start aligning up where, so actually what you might want to do is look for the bull trap around September 4th, that area, and both areas around it, essentially, right? If you could see this as a middle finger, you want to line up the fingers around it and just extend your line. That's how I would draw that line if I were you. So those are the things in play right now. And what we have going on is we have essentially a squeeze play where if price can indeed hold this line, which has extreme areas of resistance. So previous resistance equals future what? Raise your hand. Hey, Tim, I know. Okay, what? Future, yes, future support. So because this was extreme resistance over and over and over, now that Ethereum is above it, has tested it once as support, it has a decent chance on this chart, right? On this chart Okay, and this analysis, another analysis, I think there might be slightly more probabilities, depending on how you analyze this, there might be more probabilities that a lower low is going to be formed here, okay? Because in the video with the blue background, those conditions weren't met, all right? The conditions that I laid out there, and since they weren't met, then that means in that form of analysis, there is a probability, over 50% chance, that a lower low is going to be made here, or at minimum, or no. There's a much greater than 50% chance that a higher low, which is already forming now, or a lower low, but the lower low is more probable slightly than a higher low being formed. Okay, so right now, Ethereum is forming a higher low. Can you see? Let's zoom right in. So what we're going to so I'm giving you the big picture of how to interpret, will this higher low, so it's higher than this one, will it hold up, or will a lower low form, or will previous lows be retagged? That's a very common play. So there are three options, essentially. This was the higher low, upwards and onwards. Option number 2, you retag the lows, or option number 3, lower lows. So that's what we're going over in this video. And right now we're essentially taking the 30,000 foot view to determine what the hell is going on around us before we dive specifically into there. So what we're going to cover next, I'm going to show you what to look out for if there can be pressure built up with this. So essentially it gets trapped in here. And if Ethereum can truly hold this as support, it will explode above here, because it's essentially like a Coke bottle. It's being shaken right now, right? There's a lot of pent up energy, and it's going to break one way or another. It's going to break hard, and it's going to be explosive, and it's going to lead Bitcoin one way or another. As weird as it sounds, Ethereum price is leading Bitcoin. So before we keep diving into these charts, make sure you flip your phones or get flipped off. Hey, Tim, what does that mean? It means your phone is horizontal right now. Flip it vertically so you can hit the like button. This will help me continue making videos for you. And guess what's going to help me out anymore? If you leave me a quick comment, even if it's a simple period without the tampon, or yell your favorite type of animal, or let me know if you sleep with a fan on, or if you stick your feet out from under the covers. I don't care. Leave me a quick comment. It's going to help the algo for me so I can continue creating content for you. And if you're new to my channel, hit subscribe and make sure you hit the bell. Here's why you should hit the bell. A lot of this is time sensitive information pertaining to today's video, right? Is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? My altcoins are going to tank. So if I'm going to deliver time sensitive information to you, you got to hit that bell. Help me help you. We're in this together. All right, let's jump back into the charts. Okay, so that is essentially the 30,000 foot view on what is happening right now. And yes, I'm essentially ignoring Bitcoin price, but in regard to Ethereum leading Bitcoin, what do I mean by this? Well, on most measures, but right now we're going to use the 4-hour chart, apples to apples here. Ethereum got way over its 4-hour 200 EMA, which is the orange line, right? And go to Bitcoin, it did not. You see that? Okay, and just as I predicted in the thumbnail of the plan B, Ethereum is the asset that pulled Bitcoin down, and oddly enough, it is pulling it back up. ETH is simply leading. It's almost like it's riding the Bitcoin horse and telling it where to go right now. That is what's happening. Okay, so all right, so now what we're going to do is determine, okay, what do you need to be looking out for in order to determine if this higher low will sustain? Well, I've essentially already given you the answers, right? Okay, so we're just going to unpack this a little bit now that we understand the 30,000 foot view. Had you drawn in this origin line here, you know that, let's just use the 4-hour chart, and maybe you can add extra confirmation taking what I say here and applying it to the daily chart, particular to this origin line, not particular to the 200 EMA. All right. So I'm going to say a couple things. If Ethereum can close a 4-hour candle back above here, right, that greatly increases the odds that this higher low will sustain itself, and maybe the higher lows will be rechecked, but it greatly increases the chance that this origin line will end up being final support before the, like whatever continuation to the upside. It greatly increases it. However, if this failure, so whenever you see in a major EMA or even a horizontal like this, it gets above, but it can't get above, that's not a rejection. So if price went like this above the blue line and came back down, that's not a rejection. A rejection is like this, right? So there's rejections and failures. A failure is when it goes above a little bit, can't hold it. That's a failure. So this essentially failed. So it didn't get rejected by, it failed the 4-hour 200 EMA. But if it uses it as a rejection this next time, what you need to be looking out for is a 4-hour candle closure below this origin line. Because if that happens, you can bet your bottom dollar that the previous lows will be matched, but it's even more probable that a lower low will be made, and that will be your 50,000 to 52K Bitcoin. I'm telling you, that's exactly how it would play out if, or almost exactly how it would play out if Bitcoin tanks down, or if Ethereum leads Bitcoin down to 52K. That's exactly what you're going to look out for. Now, is it possible that you get a 4-hour closure above here, get rejected, then it comes back down, you know, and all that, you get a closure below here, then it accelerates to the downside? Yeah, it's possible. What you do when you're analyzing the charts is figure out what conditions have to be met in order for probabilities not only to change, but to flip in a favor of one thing happening. So I'm essentially giving you, if this, then good probability. If that, then good probability to the other side, right? So sure, it could also go sideways and kind of skate between what I'm saying, right? So Tim, what you're saying is price could go up, it could go down, or it could go sideways. Yes, bingo. But I'm giving you the tools to tell which one will happen with an edge. That's all you can do. So if you're watching people out there that says, this is going to fly from here now, you know, like, no, you don't need to be looking at those people for information. I'm telling you that whenever you're getting information out here from crypto YouTube, right? Especially people looking at charts. So if you're looking at people talking about news and stuff, that's good information unless they're talking about charts. If they're saying you need exposure to this asset, you know, it's good to have in your portfolio, that's the time to sell. So unless they're talking about anything related to price, news, and fundamental crypto YouTubers, okay, yeah, that's fine. That's a totally different sorts of information, sure. But if they talk about price and tell you need exposure to it, that's probably the time to be selling, and you probably need to stay away. Or you come to my channel, come to my Patreon, and ask me, hey, is this is this a good time to buy? And usually when I get those questions, it's the time to sell. All right. So anyway, so be very careful about that. But analyst people who just pick a direction, right? And a lot of and I know why. I think I know why they do it. Either A, they don't know what the hell they're talking about, or B, they know that that's what a lot of viewers want. But I'm not here to give you what you want. We're not here to look pretty. We're here to make money. All right. So it's like a kung fu master, right? If somebody wants to learn kung fu, like in the movies, are they happy when they're training? No, they're freaking miserable and they almost give up. Right? So I'm like your kung fu master. I'm not going to give you what you want. I'm giving you what you need to know in order to do better in this crypto market. Please understand this. All right. So the sources of information who are just picking a direction and looping people, it's because I get all these comments like, oh, you know, and people put the crying, like the tears laughing, and they think they're laughing at me when they say, oh, so you're saying it could go up or down or sideways? Yeah. Dipshit. But it's not those people's fault who comment. It's the people leading them to believe that. So be very careful when you're out there on crypto YouTube. You get people who just pick a direction constantly, right? All right. Sometimes I do pick a direction, but I almost always, if not always, let you know what would undo that and specifically what to look for, right? So sometimes I'm guilty of that too. But I try to be extremely careful of doing that. All right. So these are the specific things to look out for. 4-hour closure, candle above the 200 EMA. Your probabilities of sustainability to the upside are greatly increased. You have the edge. Does that mean it'll fly above the blue line? No, I think that won't happen until later this month. I'm not saying that. What I am saying with this 4-hour line here is that, yeah, baked into that idea that you have greater probabilities, yeah, it could come back down and retest this origin line. It's all about this origin line holding up. So it squeezes price above the blue line because it's approaching it, boop, right? And so it's like having a soap bar in your hands, no jail reference, like, but it's a good analogy, dang it. So you're getting closer and closer to these squeezing, right? And that is essentially like, you know, this is one hand, this is the other hand, price is a soap bar. It's getting squeeze harder and harder and harder and harder. It will fly out. It's going to happen. But it doesn't have to go up. It can go down, right? It can. Now, if it gets this far, it's the likelihood of it going up is extremely high in that case. So this is what we're looking for. You get the 4-hour closure above this orange line. The likelihood immediately that this holds up greatly increases. Okay. But after this failure, so remember I was talking about failure. So imagine the blue line, price gets above, goes below. That's a failure. If price came up here like this, that's a rejection. So if you get a failure, then a rejection, and price cannot close above here, that automatically increases the chance that this origin line will be broken. And then your two options at that point, as it gets rejected and heads back down, hitting this lower low and hitting this is not probable at that point. If it gets rejected, you need a closure above, then to come back down, then you're good to go. But if it's a straight up rejection after a failure, the probability is like over 50% chance this is going to be broken. Either this low down here at 39.60 will be met, so that might be like, let's say that in that case, if there's a rejection, let's say you have a 33% probability at that point that that 3960 will be retested, but you probably have a 40% chance that lower lows will be made, right? So that only adds up to about 73%. Of course, there's like a 20% chance it could come down here after failure, then explode, so I'm not going up to 100% on those downside measures. There's always a strong, a decent chance, a decent possibility, perhaps in the double digits, that it goes up, even if the conditions I'm stating don't happen. It could happen. It could happen. My analysis aren't perfect. Bitcoin and Ethereum price aren't listening to me. They don't care what I say. However, I know how these move, and I know when you have the edge, right? So that's what we're digging into here. Okay, and so if you just want to take a look at Bitcoin here, you can see how much farther below it is. So, there's not a whole lot that it's holding on to, but there is one line that I want you to draw on your Bitcoin chart, okay? It's this line right here. This line right here. So assuming, let's say Ethereum does the things I'm saying from the bullish sense, closes above, comes back down to the origin line, uses it as support, right? What gives you extra super duper probability? Man, I just burped on the microphone. All right. Anyway, it gives you extra super duper, probabilities that the move, in December will continue up, is a daily closure above this line. At that point, assuming the bullish, scenarios that I'm laying out for Ethereum play out, this actually, a daily closure might coincide with the moment that Ethereum is ready to bust above its blue line, which is its previous all-time wick highs back from May. So you might want to draw this on here. And in terms of Bitcoin price, because it's being led like as if Bitcoin were a horse by Ethereum, right? That might be about the only thing you want to look out for at this time. As weird as that sounds, I typically focus on Bitcoin, right? But I know when to switch, and these assets definitely switch. Okay, so it, like in a relay race, they have a baton or whatever you call them, right? That you hand off to the next, runner, and they take the lead. Well, Bitcoin just handed the baton to Ethereum. That's why we have all eyes on Ethereum right now. All right. So, hey, if you want to make more money by learning a simple trick, EMA trick, super simple, and it's not going to take you long to watch. It's going to make you more money in crypto, new viewers. You're going to want to click this video here. And returning viewers, if you want to do a deeper dive analysis and learn something new that might take a little bit more time to learn, but it's going to increase your game, you're going to want to watch this video here. So new viewers make more money with this video here. Returning viewers, you're going to want to watch this video here. Why are you guys still here? I just said new viewers, more money here. Returning viewers, more money here. You're still here. Why?